Hello, Aurora lovers. I'm DaleBoan from DaleBoanImaging, and this is Aurora Hunting 101. This is episode 23, How Do I Use Astrospheric? Astrospheric is a North American astronomy web app and website. As Aurora hunters, we are interested in the same sort of information that astronomers are. Cloud cover, when is the moon going to be up, when is it dark, what's the overall weather information going to be. Let's explore. So this is Astrospheric. Let's call it informationally dense. And I agree that when you first look at it, it is a lot. There is a lot of information there, but it is actually displayed in a reasonably logical manner, and it doesn't take a lot of effort to learn it. They do change it fairly frequently, so there's always a little bit of tweaks. The web app actually looks almost identical to this, other than it's going to be vertical, but it uses the same display in the app as it does on the website. So let's explore this a little bit. So if we break this down into areas, at the top we've got the cloud cover map by default. Under that is a hour by hour display of information about the clouds and how clear the sky is and how good you can see the stars in this case, but that would apply to the Aurora as well because it is up above the clouds as well. They actually have the KP numbers in here as well, so at which time is the forecast KP expected to be high. And then below that they have the moonrise and moonset times, and you can see the cycle and how long the sun and the moon are going to be down or above. Below that this is the wind forecast across here. And then they have temperature and dew point. And usually I never talk about dew point, but it can matter if you're going to be out doing photography for quite a while. So when these two lines converge, that means the dew is very likely to start forming on your camera equipment. So if you're out doing a lot of photography, you may have to wipe off your lens, or if you're doing a time lapse, you may have to take that into consideration and either try and warm your lens or check for dew to see if a dew is accumulating on your camera equipment. So the map, let's go back to the cloud map, which this is sort of like an integration of a number of other apps. It's sort of windy, and there is an older website called Clear Dark Sky, which has been used by astronomers for a long time. It looks suspiciously similar. Part of that is because that's the way the information comes from Environment Canada. At least a central block, and some of the maps are coming from maybe not the cloud map. They might be, I don't know where they're pulling that from, but this block in the middle is from Environment Canada's maps, and that is why it's only a North American website. Environment Canada creates a set of maps for astronomy, and I don't believe anyone in the US does that, but they only create it for Canada and the US. So Astrospheric right now is limited to just North America. But you can change the maps in a number of ways. By default, it's clouds. So if you look at these three rows, it's an hour by hour estimation. White is bad. Dark blue is good. So the first row is the cloud cover, which is approximately these maps. So right here, this time it's fairly clear, so cloud cover is not a problem. Seeing it, or the next one below that is transparency. Oops. And I can actually do a transparency map on here. And that's how clear the air is. So if there's, dust and or smoke and or air pollution and or, anything that is going to obscure your view through the atmosphere, the transparency will be lower. So we want those to be bluer. So over here, it's much bluer than it is right now. We have quite a bit of smoke right now. So the air is not very transparent. And then below that, oops, I just get the help file again, is seeing. So you can click on the same symbol up here and that'll give you the seeing. And you can see the area, see it plotted on the map. So seeing is a calculated value based on cloud cover and the transparency and other effects about how easy it's going to be, how good it is, or how easily you can see the stars or the planets, or in our case, Aurora. So, and sometimes, here the seeing is a bit better because it's clear, but even without a lot of transparency, here it's just cloudy and we can't see anything. If you get good transparency and no clouds, then you get reasonably good seeing. But other things can affect that as well. So it's all part of, that's a calculated value is my understanding. So that gives you an idea of how well you can see the aurora. Aurora's fairly bright, so you can see through, wispy clouds and things like that, but you lose some of the detail when that happens. And if the moon is up, then it certainly deteriorates the seeing because it'll light up anything that's affecting the transparency of the sky. It'll light up the cloud, light up any smoke or dust or anything that's in the atmosphere. The KP numbers are just straight from the NOAA forecast, as far as I know. If we looked at the seeing, we can look at how windy various areas are going to be. So this row here is the wind forecast. This arrow is the wind, and think of these as arrowheads. So that is the direction the wind is blowing. And again, dark blue means it's not very windy, and getting into white, it means it's a stronger wind. And you can see what the actual value is for this. Oops, if we go there and look at the bottom, cloud cover is 99%. Transparency is cloudy, seeing is cloudy. Wind speed is 41 kilometers per hour, temperature is 11. So you can see this column here along the bottom. Same in the weather app, or in the app, sorry. And then temperature and humidity just tells you, what sort of weather you need to prepare for. On the map, you can actually, there's a few other things. This is smoke. And as I said, we have a lot of smoke in our area, although most of it is to the east of us right now. And, as you cycle through here, it'll change. You can actually see animated. See the smoke as it's moving around. That never used to be a big concern, but it's becoming more and more of a concern. You can see the satellite data. You see it's pretty cloudy. So we've got some, transparent high cirrus clouds or something that is increasing the, or reducing the transparency of the sky. Let's go the other way around. And finally, it's got a dark sky map. So you can go in here and see where the light pollution is. If you click on this map, it actually expands it. So you have just the map. Eastern U.S. is very light polluted and extending up into, southern Ontario, Quebec, where the bigger cities are. And there's always a mixture of industrial light pollution. Like this is oil fields. This is the Canadian oil sands up here, and then oil fields down here, oil fields along here. Oil fields around here, but not as intensive. They all produce a lot of light pollution. So that can be useful to plan if you're going somewhere. And you just escape or click off it to get to something else. It's got options. You can change the settings in here. If I'm in Canada, I want kilometers per hour and degrees Celsius. If you're US, you might 1 miles per hour and Fahrenheit. You can change the format of the clock. It does have, it is a freemium model, so you get basic features for free. If you want more cloud maps, there's different forecasting models that might give you different results for the clouds. So if you pay for a subscription, you get more features. You can turn the KP index off and on, or you can do something like this. If you're in a KP5 zone, you can, that's not going to show up at all. If you're in a, say, KP4 or 5 zone, maybe you only want to show that KP model number when it's actually going to be that high, right? So in the next couple of days, that's the only time where you expect to have KP4. That's possibly useful. So it's trying to be an all-in-one app. If you want to change your location, you can just type in a new location. Knife, we might have spelled Yellowknife correctly. Northwest Territories, get forecast. So that's one of the great places to see the Northern Lights. It's in the Aurora zone that gets Northern Lights pretty much every night, as long as it's clear. Unfortunately, as I'm recording this, the entire city is being evacuated because of forest fires. I believe it's about 20,000 people just in the city, and plus surrounding areas are all being either driving out or being flown out. So I'm sure if we look at the smoke map around there, it's probably, well, it's not super crazy, but what is it right now? Yeah, it's not a good situation up there, unfortunately. Hopefully they manage to divert all the fires away from the city and their other communities in that area. But that is one of the great places to go to see the Aurora. What else can we do in here? I think I've covered most of it. They've got longer term forecasts. If you scroll down, they keep adding, as I said, they keep adding things. So if you want to go see the eclipse of this, that is this year, that's an annular eclipse. It's where the moon is far enough away from the Earth that it doesn't completely cover the sun. It becomes you can see the ring, turns it into a bit of a donut. The moon is smaller than the sun, so it doesn't completely cover it. And it goes through this path through Oregon, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, and Texas. So that'd be cool. And it's got the same eclipse map for 2024, which is a total eclipse. And it is further south. It runs through Mexico, up through Texas, up through Toronto, Montreal, Newfoundland even. So yeah, start planning for next year. As I say, they keep adding to this. There's, they've been adding things like the moon information, and they just added this crazy thing where you can see when the Andromeda Galaxy is going to be up, or the moon, or Jupiter, and you can spin it around. So there's a lot of new things in here to play with. The they're trying to turn it into a community thing. So I think it's useful. It's certainly an alternate way of looking at the information, and can be a one-stop shopping for astronomical information in terms of weather and the moon and things that we're interested at night. So take a look at it. So that is Astrospheric. There is a lot of information there, and it's things that we're interested in at night that affects how visible the aurora is going to be. So I find it's a useful app. I'm in the habit of using other apps, but certainly from time to time, I take a look at it, and I really should be using it more. I also do some astronomy, so I have another reason to look at Astrospheric. Unfortunately, it's only for North America, unless somebody else starts generating the astronomy maps for other parts of the world. With that, please check out episode 24, which is What Are Noctilescent Clouds? I'm wishing you clear skies and happy hunting.